Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's Thursday, the 13th of August 2026, and the time currently in Brisbane, Australia is 11:10 a.m. Again, I could have waited one more minute for the angel sequences, but we don't need to, do we? We know there's angels in the architecture, spinning in infinity, and let us say, hallelujah. So that's the only bit of religiosity I'm going to impose upon you today. I do believe in angels though. I'm alive because of angels, ethereal and earthly. So there is that. And sometimes I'm not all that happy about it, if truth be known. It's been a lifetime of quite a lot of struggle and quite a lot of evil and awfulness, but someone, capital S, keeps me here and gifts me appropriately or takes away appropriately, as happens in all lives. Things are given and things are taken. Things are lost and things are found. Sometimes things are rediscovered. And it's all part of the fabric of the universe. The, as we call it in Kabbalah, Tzimtzum, the contracting, pushing forward and pulling back and pushing forward, just like a caterpillar moving slowly across the void, co-creating with the gods, as the case may be. Sometimes a 50-yard dash, sometimes a long marathon that traverses time and space and takes eons. Feels like that sometimes at my age anyway. 61 years of trying to push myself through and get somewhere. Ultimately nowhere, but that too is part of the journey. Right, it's a glorious day here at Titania's Realm, Sacred Space. My beautiful Rati is here cleaning the house, and I've put the birdie boys outside because they missed out yesterday because I had an outing with Avril and Phoebe. So today was the day, little Kermie and little Bo, to be out in the garden rejoicing. My hair looks nice and fluffy because I washed it. It's been so oily I'm having to wash it every day or every second day, which is a little bit much, so the lengths are getting a bit dry looking, but the top is looks good when I wash it for about 5 feckin' minutes. Mama T's grey's coming slowly through, but the dye I bought that was $40 didn't really work, didn't do its job, so I've got all the blonde showing through now, left over from the foils. I'll have to give it a good go again on Tuesday. And funnily enough, I just got a text from my hairdresser. So a bit frustrated about my hair, but I knew it was going to be a long, slow process getting it to go back to its natural grey state. So I just have to persevere, people are there. Like all things, persevere. Right, now we're up to chapter 7 of The Essentials by Milligan, and it's titled Bearing All. Now we get all the demolition trucks, so you may not be able to read out here for very long if they're going to crash, bam, boom. Never mind, we'll do what we can do, and I'll have to maybe take us back inside or resume it later. Right, how long is this chapter? I'm just curious. Quite a long chapter too, so it'll be likely a 2-part video anyway. Right, here we go, people of Earth. Silly verse for kids, 1963. Maverick. Maverick prowls had rumbling bells that thundered in the night. It shook the bedrooms all around and gave the folks a fright. The doctor called, he was appalled, when through his stethoscope he heard the sound of a baying hound and the acrid smell of smoke. Was there a cure? The higher, the fewer, the learned doctor said, then turned poor Maverick inside out and stood him on his head. Just as I thought, you've been and caught an Asiatic flu. You mustn't go near dogs, I fear, unless they come near you. Poor Maverick cried, he went cross-eyed, his legs went green and blue. The doctor hit him with a club and charged him 1 and 2. And so, my friend, this is the end. A warning to the few, stay clear of doctors to the end, or they'll get rid of you. A Dustbin of Milligan, 1961. The violin and my court-martial. The violin. It could only happen once in a lifetime. It happened to Joseph Schildkraut. In the Commercial Road, his pawn shop was the sole survivor in the district of wholesale shutdowns during the 1930 Depression. There ain't no more money left in the world, he told his wife at breakfast. Nobody ever redeems their pledges these days. Look at the stuff I got in the shop. I can't get a penny for any of them. Ugh, there just ain't no more money. A host of pawned clocks chimed 10 from the shop. In the good old days, he would have been opened at 8:30 sharp, but now there was no point. He finished his tea and pulled the shop blinds. It was cold, the windows unseeing with condensation. He wiped clear. Across the road, outside the labour exchange, groups of grey, cold, unemployed men stood talking. Some wore army medals. Poor fellas, thought Joe. Farther down the street, some had started a fire with orange boxes. The day passed without a customer. I suppose, thought Joe, people ain't got anything to pawn anymore. It was the shortest day. At 4 he lit the gas. Its light bathed the room in a sea of sepulchral green. Ugh, might as well close, Joe muttered. But what was this? Someone coming in? Yes, he was. The shop door opened. An elderly man made a shuffling entrance. You still open, mate? Joe shrugged his shoulders. Well, yes. What you got then? The old man held up an army sandbag. Do you give anything on musical instruments, mate? Joe winced. Instruments? He pointed to a host of trumpets that festooned the walls. You can see how much I need instruments? The old man stood silent. His great shabby overcoat hung from his stooped shoulders like tired wings. Oh, all right. There was a note of pity in Joe's voice. What you got? The old man laid the sandbag on the counter. It's a fiddle, mate, he said, sliding it from the bag. At first glance, Joe could see it was old, very old. He took it behind the counter under the light and peered into the F holes. The floor of the instrument was thick with dust. All the while the old man stood silent. "It won't keep you long," said Joe, removing the dust with a paintbrush. "Niccolo Amati, 1604. Joe polished his glasses and looked again. Niccolo Amati, 1604. That was what the label said. "Steady, Joe. There's a million fakes floating about. This could be another, except this didn't feel like a fake." The label was vellum, and the signature in faded brown ink. Joe had a strange feeling come over him. The old man stood waiting. Joe showed no outward emotion. "Is it worth anything?" asked the old man. Joe laid the violin on the sandbag, took off his glasses. "I don't know, sir. Leave it here a day or two and I'll let you know." The old man took a pace forward. "A day or two? I was hoping I might get something right away, mate. See, I'm skint and hungry, bleeding hungry. Couldn't you let me have a couple of bob on account? I mean, it must be worth more than that." Joe put the violin into the sack. "All right, 2 bob." The old man took the coin. "Good luck," he said, spitting on it, and shuffled from the shop. Heart beating, Joe bolted the shop door. He took the stairs to the loft, 2 at a time. He pulled down his lexicon of violins, viols and cellos. For an hour he compared the violin against illustrations, measurements, wood, scroll, all signs pointed in favour. There was one person who could tell him for sure, Uncle Alfred. That was my grandfather's name, Alfred Abraham Phillips. I called him Pop. What is that? Yuck. The milk all coagulated at the bottom. Bloody microwave does that. Well, excuse me. That must have looked a bit unsightly. Things that happened to me at Sacred Space, people of Earth. I was just about to say my cousin Megan and all her siblings had a more closer relationship with my Pop because they lived near him in Auckland and I was down in Wellington with my mad asshole parents. But Pop used to come down, keeping grandfatherly eye on me and pull my father into line every now and then. My dad would rage with his mad berserker rages that would come like forest fires out of nowhere on account of nothing sometimes. It was that flagrantly bonkers and didn't really cope with life either, I guess, to be charitable. And my Pop would smash his fist down on the dining table and say, "That's enough out of you, David." My father would wither and shrink back. So my mother adored my grandfather because he was the only one that could control David Phillips. What a fucking life. But anyway, my cousin Megan tells me that our Pop was a kind and loving grandfather in spite of his proclivity to be a stern disciplinarian. And they adored him. They all adored him. So there was that. He was a bit naive and trusting when he gave my mother the land in Waiheke Island on a gentleman's handshake on the understanding that it would be preserved for me. And she robbed him blind. And me. C'est la vie, babies. Ancient history now, isn't it? But it's why I take umbrage at people taking advantage or trying to rob me of things, because it was done by my own mother and later by my husband. Fuck them, evil cunts. Yes, I said the C word, and in that context I mean it too. Right, here we go. It's a beautiful day at Sacred Space Titania's Realm in Paradise. So we'll continue on with the story. And kisses to my pop for at least wanting to do right by me when I was only 14 years old. Ironically, it was my father-in-law, Harry Aarons, who paid off not one but two houses trying to do right by me also. So I've had wonderful men, usually much older men, grandfatherly types, being nurturing and protective of me. And then I have my wonderful psychiatrist, who's only 5 years older than me, but also nurturing and protective. And the rest all sloughed off over time, gone on their merry way, often feckless and false and dishonouring. So there is that. Does it matter in the broad scheme of things? No, not really. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, and I'm alive and reasonably contented. And on Sunday I'm going to pick up 2 alpaca fleeces, which will be a lot of work, scouring and preparing and then ultimately spinning. But I'm excited about it. It was very kind of Capalaba Produce to give them to me. Very excited about it. Little gifts from the multiverse along the way. So what did I say earlier? Things that are taken are taken. Other things are given, and it's up to you what you make with it, babies. Getting cold sitting here. I might have to move our chair and my little table in front of the birds. Right. 8 minutes later, the phone rang in Uncle Alf's shop. Hello, Alfred Bloom's Antiques here. The babbling voice of nephew Joe came racing over the phone. He told all. You come down now and verify it, or I won't sleep. Me? Come down now? I'm in Leeds, remember? Leeds, Schmieds. This could mean a fortune. You can have your cut. I'll be down on the night train. At 6:50 the following morning, Uncle Alfred was in the shop. Without even letting him remove his hat or coat, Joe pushed the violin at him. Screwing an inspection glass in his eye, Uncle Alf roamed the body of the old violin. The glass dropped from his eye. He started to shake. Joe, it's real, he said. It's an Amati, worth £40,000 anywhere in the world. The two men stood silent in the room. Then Joe started to speak. Of £40,000? He kept repeating. But that's putting it at a minimum, interjected Uncle Alf. Joe fell back into his chair. This meant the start of a new life. No more penny pinching, no more bargaining, anti-Semitism, bills, arguments, sleepless nights, rent, all over, all over. He started to cry. Uncle Alf was speaking. You ain't told me where you got it. An old fella came in. I gave him 2 bob deposit. 2 bob? Uncle Alf clapped his hands. Then he don't know the value. We're home and dry. Ha ha! Joe held up his hand. Just a minute. He's entitled to a slice of the money. It's his violin. Uncle's face dropped. You mad, Joe? Who found it was worth 40,000? Him? No, it was you and me. No, son, it's the luck of the game. Offer him £2 and later send him an anonymous 100. He'll be happy. Come now, wake up. Business is business. He'd do the same to you. A day went by, 2, 3, a week. The old man never appeared. Joe and his wife were taking sleeping pills. Late one January evening, the old man came. Sorry I've been so long, he coughed. I've been ill with the flu. I lives on me own, so I didn't get much attention. There was a pause. Joe waited for the man to ask the question. He did. Did you make up your mind about the fiddle? Joe drew a deep breath. Yes, he exhaled. I have. Well, thank God. I needs a few bob, huh? I'll give you £2 for it. At the mention of money, the old man swayed. £2? He echoed. Yes. Oh. He stood blinking in the middle of the room. I thought it might be worth a bit more. Joe laughed. More? How much you reckon it's worth then? The old man gave Joe a steady gaze. £40,000, he said. Gunnifs everywhere. Gunnif is Yiddish for thieves. They're everywhere. It's been done to me. Diamonds swapped out of my diamond engagement ring, for example. The bastards. Can't prove anything. They've gotten away with it. But after years of being a loyal customer, I hope their punishment is severe and it's spiritual, babies. Right. It's just one Gunnif I had dealings with over the years. There were many. Does it matter in the broad scheme of things? I needed to shuck off that shackle anyway, so ultimately I win anyway. Ironically, but it's very nasty to steal people's few little bloody diamonds, especially when they know that you've been forced into poverty against your will. Oh, they all want to ride on you and take advantage, people of Earth. It's constant. Even changing my name has been very, very fraught and torturous and difficult, and it didn't need to be like that. Here's looking at you, Zip Pay and Stripe and Vocal Media, you 3 companies. 2 of them I no longer have any connectivity to. I've severed all connections. And I'm thinking about severing with Stripe when I pay off my outstanding debt, because I don't want to do business with people who are so lazy and incompetent they can't adjust your new name or your new email address. Make it too bloody difficult. Fuck them. Right, on we go and on we go. The Bodicea is in the house every day in every way. Right, here we go. Next story. My court-martial. The following is just a thought. I recall the incident from my old army days. In 1917, the British invented the military tank. Under conditions of great secrecy, an attack on the German lines was prepared at Cambrai. The day before the attack, however, to the amazement of all, the Germans attacked the British with tanks. Immediately, a member of the House of Commons demanded an inquiry into our security methods. First day of the inquiry before the Lords Blimley, Grumper and Chatchaw Blurtington. Mr. Smith, KC. Lord Spike, you're a general in the British Army? Lord Spike, yes. Smith, KC. Your salary is £3,000 a year? Lord Spike, yes. Smith, KC. You consider that a living wage? Lord Spike, Smith. You are living? Lord Spike, yes. Smith. Then you must be getting a living wage. Laughter. Smith. Lord Spike, you knew of the promised British tank attack 3 days before it happened? Spike. Yes, I had been told by the Minister of War. Smith. You told no one else? Spike. No. Smith. Lord Spike, what I am to reveal to the court may displease you, but reveal it I must. I have here before me a receipt addressed to you from the German army. It says, for services rendered, 10,000 Deutsches Marks. Spike. I fail to see why the revelation would displease me. Smith. For what reason do you receive these payments from the German army? Spike. I happen to be a director, have been for several years. Smith. I see. In fact, you have shares in the German army. Spike. Yes. Smith. Lord Spike, is not your loyalty divided between the German and British cause? Spike. Of course not. I serve each office faithfully. Smith. Let me amplify your position. Supposing, only supposing, the German army are building up for an attack on the British, what is your immediate reaction? Spike. As a director of the German army, it is my duty to keep secret from the British their intention. Smith. But you are general of the British army. In the light of your knowledge, should you not make defensive preparations? Spike. Of course not. It would ill become my position as a shareholder in the German army. No, sir. When the Germans attacked, and only when, would I react? Smith. You actually mean you are almost schizoid in that respect? Spike. Putting it clinically, yes. Smith. Regarding the tank attack, as the British had only just invented the tank, was it not a great coincidence that the Germans invented it 3 days before? Spike. It certainly did surprise me, as a British general, that is. Of course, as a shareholder of the German army, I knew all the time. Smith. Can you explain why 3 days prior to the British tank attack, a telegram was delivered to the German High Command reading, build tanks? Spike. It was just a coincidence. Smith. As the result of the successful German tank attack, did not the shares you hold in the German army increase in value? Spike. Yes. Smith. Oh, that was all, Lord Spike. From here on, I let the reader take over. The Little Pot Boiler, 1965. Once upon an unfortunate time, there was a hairy thing called man. Along with him was a hairier thing called animal. Man had a larger brain, which made him think he was superior to animals. Some men thought they were superior to men. They became leader men. Leader men said, "We have no need to work. We will kill animals to eat." So they did. Man increased, animals decreased. Eventually leader men said, "There are not enough animals left to eat. We must grow our own food." So man grew food. Now, the only animals man had not destroyed were tiny ones like rabbits and mice. These little animals were caught eating some of man's crops. These animals are a menace. They must die. In China, they killed all the sparrows. In Australia, they killed all the rabbits. Everywhere, man killed all wildlife. Soon there was none, and all the birds were poisoned. Oh, don't listen, Kermie and Bo. It's true, but don't listen to those evil twaddlers. Leader man said, "At last, we are free of pests." I don't view birds as pests. I find you all delightful, all of you. Man's numbers increased. The world became crowded with men. They all had to sleep standing up. One day a leader man saw a new creature eating his crops. This creature's name was starving people. "This creature is a menace," said leader man, followed by an ellipse. Because we know how that ends up. It's something you have to worry about AI thinking that we're all just pests. But it's a beautiful day in the garden, and the gods will decree the fate of humanity. Sad but true. Can't rely on ourselves for our own survival. We've ceded our souls and our own body autonomy and our own authority to machines. Dickheads. Right, a box of bits, 1965. Holy smoke. I am the vicar of St. Paul's, and I'm ringing the steeple bell. The floor of the church is on fire and the lid has come off hell. Shall I ring the fire brigade, or should I trust in the Lord? Oh dear, I've just remembered. I don't think we're insured. What's this then? Said the fire chief. Is this church C of E? It is. Then we can't put it out. My lads are all RC. C of E means Church of England, which is Protestant, and Darcy means Roman Catholic, which is the Church of Rome, Catholics. They don't like each other. They're quite happy to sit back and watch each other burn themselves down. It's always been that way. The human milk of Christian human kindness. Oh, well, maybe they try to get along in modern contemporary society. Maybe. Milliganimals, 1968. The Gofongo. The Gofongo, if you please, is a fish with singing knees and a tail that plays the Spanish clarionet. He has toes that whistle tunes and explode like toy balloons. Hence his many, many visits to the vet. The go-fongo, when he likes, swallows jam and rusty bikes, orange pips and treacle pudding boiled in glue. He loves chips with rusty nails and can swallow iron rails. That is why they cannot keep one in a zoo. But go-fongo is a pet, as a pet would cause panic and regret. People tried it and were nearly driven balmy. For once inside a house he screams, "I'm a Jewish mouse." Then he runs away and joins the Arab army. Small Dreams of a Scorpion, 1972. England Home and Beauty for Sale. Beautiful buildings no longer stand in Bloomsbury's pleasant land. The land, it said, is sold. Who buy? Oh dearie me, oh dearie my. A place that teaches architectural knowledge. London, University College. So when one stands and sadly stares at horrid new buildings in Bloomsbury squares, we know the responsibility's theirs. Au revoir, a lot of learning can be a little thing. Indeed. Right. Just seeing how much more we've got, people are there. Got a few short poems, so we'll carry on with those. And when we get to the longer prose, we'll save that for tomorrow. Open Heart University, 1978. Open Heart University dedicated to BBC TV Open University. We've come a long way, said the cigarette scientist as he destroyed a live rabbit to show the students how it worked. He took its heart out, plugged it into an electric pump that kept it beating for nearly 2 hours. I know rabbits who can keep their hearts beating for nearly 7 years. Look at the electricity they save. London, March 1977. Sad, isn't it? I love rabbits. They're beautiful creatures and they get really badly treated. Really badly treated. Especially here in Australia. Foul it is. Unspun socks from a chicken's laundry, 1981. Standing room only, bad report, good manners. Standing room only. This population explosion, said Peter to St. Paul, is really getting far too much. Just look at that crowd in the hall. Even here in heaven there isn't any room. I think the world could do with less, much less fruit in the womb. Thus heaven is overcrowded. The numbers are starting to tell. So when the next lot knock at the gates, tell them to go to hell. And they are overcrowding the pearly gates. Looking ever so happy and hopeful though. Oh, blessed be. A bad report of good manners. My daddy said, my son, the school report is bad. I said, I did my best, I did. My dad. Explain, my son, he said. Why, bottom of the class. I stood aside, my dad, to let the others pass. 101 Limericks, 1982. A young man from Blighty. There was a young man from Blighty who wore a transparent nightie. The vicar said, "Son, it's really not done. It's not wrong, but it's also not righty." You know what? We're not far from the end. I shan't be lazy. I shall persevere until we're through. People of Earth, sometimes it just takes a little bit of Titania's realm stamina and the will to succeed. Oh well, never mind. Where have all the bullets gone? 1985. Landlords ahoy. Landlords ahoy. Frightening Folkestone on the cardboard cow. The golden seaport hove into view. I would rather have viewed into hove. It's raining and doing the gardens good. We're close to the quay. It looks so bloody foreboding, Len says. I think I'll go back. I remind him that his dear little wife is at this moment panting on her bed with the heating turned up and drinking boiling Horlicks. The customs are pretty hot. Read that, please. I'm handed a foolscap sheet of writing. Very good, I say. Have you anything to declare? I declare that the war is over. He's not satisfied. What have I got in the case? It's a trumpet. Can he see it? He opens the case. Where did I buy this? In London. Have I got a receipt? Yes. Where is it? It's in an envelope in a drawer in my mother's dressing table in Reigate. He hums and haws. He's as stupid as a piss parrot. Empty your kit bag. I pour out a sea of my second-hand underwear. He turns it over and over. Where is it? Where's what? The contents. He thinks it's the wrapping for something. Why have I got so many underpants? I tell him of my mother's forecast of the coming world shortage that will hit England soon. He is now pretty pissed off. Okay. He makes a yellow chalk mark on everything. Next to me he finds a poor squaddy with a bottle of whiskey. You'll have to pay £1 10 shillings on that, he says with malice afterthought. Oh no, I won't, says the squaddy. Then I'll have to confiscate it. The squaddy opens the bottle and hands it round to us. With devilish glee, we help lower the level to halfway. Then the squaddy puts the bottle to his lips and drains it. The customs officer is in a frenzy, says to an MP. Arrest that man. The MP wants to know why. Drunkenness, he says. He's not drunk, says the MP. Wait, says the custom officer. From the quay to the station, we are now free of military encumbrances. Just for the hell of it, we go into a little tea shop in the high road. It's very quiet. 3 middle-aged ladies are serving. Tea, love, says one in black with a little white apron. Yes, tea, love. That and a slice of fruit cake that tastes like sawdust. The sugar is rationed to 2 lumps. The war isn't quite over yet. We paid 10p. Folkestone station and the 11:40 train to Charing Cross. London is as I left it, black, grimy, rainy, but holes in the terraces where bombs have fallen. Len and I split. See you in 4 weeks' time, 2 stone lighter and skint, he says. I buy my first English newspapers for 2 years. The Daily Herald, the Daily Mail, the Express, the Mirror, the News Chronicle. I go straight for my beloved Beachcomber and find that Justice Cocklecarrot and the red-bearded dwarfs are still in court. He is sentencing a Mrs. Grotz for repeatedly pushing the dwarfs into people's halls. From Charing Cross I take the tube to Archway. Soon I'm knocking on the door of 31 St John's Way. A surprise for Mrs Edgington. She doesn't know I'm coming. Oh, Spike! She's drying her hands. What are you doing here? I tell her I'm doing leave here. When are you going back? Can I come in first? Tea? Would I like some tea? Ah, at last, an English cup of tea and a dog biscuit. Joke. I explain my accommodation difficulty. What is the difficulty? Accommodation. Yes, I can stay here. You can sleep in the basement. Mr Edgington's not in. He's gone out to get a paper. Yes, he's well. Son Doug? He's been called up. The army. Did I know Harry was getting married on leave? He's been caught at the customs with some material he'd bought for Peg's wedding dress, and the bastards gave him detention. Mr Edgington is back. Ah, Spike. When are you going back? He's tall, thin, at one time handsome. An ex-guard sergeant with World War I. He was badly gassed in France. He is in receipt of a small war pension. Alas, he smokes. It will do for him one day, as it would his youngest son Doug. I dump my gear in the basement. Would I like some lunch? Toad in the hole? Lovely grub. I set myself up in the basement. There's a coal fire, but remember it's rationed. Best not light it until the evening. Leading question. Can Mrs Edgington see to find room for Sergeant Betty Cranley for a day or so? Yes, there's Doug's bedroom going spare. I tell her, good, because I'm going spare. I phone Betty. Hello, Betty. Knickers and boobs. Can she get up with knickers and boobs this week, knickers and boobs? Yes, she can, knickers and boobs. Mrs Edgington, can I have egg and chips for tea? I light the coal fire. Mrs Edgington has lent me Doug's wireless, a little Bakelite echo set. These were the days of quiet broadcasting. Christopher Stone playing gramophone records in steady measured tones, unlike the plastic arse-screaming hyped-up disc jockeys with crappy jokes who get housewives so hyped up with fast mindless chatter and ghetto blasting records that they are all on Valium. I spent the afternoon reading the papers and listening to long-forgotten programs. Sid Dean and his band are broadcasting live from a tea dance in Brighton. How very, very nice. The news. Alvar Liddell, ace broadcaster and master of wireless, is telling us in profound adenoidal tones that Mr Attlee, the Prime Minister, with all the impact of sponge on marble, is meeting with the Soviet ambassador, where they are promising each other there will never be another war. And babies are found under bushes. Churchill is at home in Chartwell doing the kitchen. Henry Hall has been in a car crash in the key of E flat. Woman's Hour. How to knit socks underwater, and hints on how to make the best of rationed food. Eat it. I am staring into the glowing coals. Sometimes I stare into the glowing wallpaper or the glowing lino. I decide to take my legs for a walk before supper.
I'm listening you.
Oh! I don't mind if you listen. It's a performance after all for everyone.
Oh,
They're happy boys in the garden.
Okay, Papa, see you next week.
See you next week, inshallah. Take care. Yes, no worries. Do I want the door key? It's where no burglar can find it, on a string in the letterbox. I'm wearing my red and blue artillery forage cap. In the London gloom, it looks like my head's on fire. I stroll to the archway and it's grumbling grey traffic. The evening is lit with those ghastly green sodium lights that make the English look like a race of seasick Draculas. Down Holloway Road. First house I was born in was in Holloway Road in Tiaro. It was a landslide when I was 6 months old and I nearly died because it missed me by only a few feet or 1 metre. My first serious near death, 6 months old. Bloody hell. My mother comes out and half the bedroom's drifted down the hill and there I am lying in my crib. Oblivious. Was I really oblivious though? I guess it's beneath memory because I was so very, very tiny and young and still forming my brain. Right, Holloway bloody road. Down Holloway Road, remembering that it was down here, Edward Lear was born. Well, that explains everything, doesn't it? I stopped to see the nonsense poet. I stopped to see what the shops have to offer. Displays of crappy furniture, boasting that you can see the natural grain of the cardboard. I go down to the Seven Sisters Road. None of the sisters show up, so I come back. I pass Hercules Street with not a person in it, weighing more than 10 stone. Manor Garden, Alexander Road, Landseer Road. The last two would turn in their graves to see what the names had been used for. Giesbach Road? Who chooses them? What grey, dull, mindless idiots sit and debate these improbable street names. Streets that should be called Grotty Road, Dog Shit Street, Crappy Avenue, Terrible Building Road. Who in their right mind built these mansions? Art's starting to imitate life just a little tiny bit, don't you think? C'est la vie, babies. Mind you, it's got worse since. Oh, this is better. The fish and chip shop. A cheery, fat, sweating man with 6 hairs serves me. 3 pieces of rock salmon and a pen of the chips. He sees my medal ribbons. "Hello, son. You been in trouble?" "Yes," I said, "and her father's after me." Back at number 30, I pull the string on the key. "Is that you, Spike?" Mrs. Edgington in her nightie calls from the top of the stairs. "Yes. Would you like some fish and chips?" "No, they've had their supper." "Remember to bolt the door, but not the food." I say, "Okay." "If you want a cup of tea, it's all there." "Ta." It's 8 o'clock. They go to bed early to save electricity and heating. It's not been an easy war for the working classes. It's not been an easy COVID epoch either for the working classes and the disability pensioners like me. Yet here we are, still surviving in our beautiful gardens going, fuck 'em all. Right. I lie in bed eating fish and chips and sipping tea. I used the wrong fingers. You've got to get the fingers right, people there. If you're going to fuck 'em all, you've got to fuck 'em all. Change my names at pay, you bastards. Are they really bastards, or are they just incompetent, lazy idiots? One can never tell. Just all blurs into one after a while. It just becomes more of the same thing, doesn't it? Why am I so funny about my name change? Because it's 31 years in the making. It's been a long time to finally shed that former identity and become my own Boadicea, bride of the gods. Am I really the bride of the gods? Because I'm quite unmarriageable, you know. I simply will not comply. I will not submit. I will not let some feckless arsehole with less couth and courage than me to grind me down. Yes, bride's probably not the right word. Warrior goddess. Servant of the gods. Servant of the gods. I like that. Not an equal to the gods, you understand. No one is, and if they think they are, they're condemned to be cast down to Hades for longer than they'd like to be, people of Earth. But anyway, on we go and on we go. The Boadicea. Sometimes I call myself a daughter of the gods, since my human parents were so vile and unsafe and acopic and incongruent and evil and foul. And I guess there were a few good times in between, but most of all, in the broad picture of things, it was all beyond foul. And what are we going to do? Choose not to be bitter and live our best lives. The ultimate revenge on your enemies is living your very best life, people of Earth. It's a work in progress too. A creation of a great masterpiece. Sometimes you have to paint over it and start all over again with a new name. Choose to be happy. Live your best life. Can't wait till I get my alpaca on Sunday. I'm going to start washing and scouring it straight away. I might put it aside when it's dry though, and save the spinning till the cooler weather comes in 9 months' time. Then I might not. I might get excited and decide to spin all summer long. Just depends on how I feel in the moment and what I want to do with it, I guess. I just enjoy the spinning, so soothing to my nerves, very soothing, meditative. It's a bit ridiculous, you know. My former boyfriend's mother tried to get me into spinning about 20 years ago, and it's taken me the last 2 years to finally learn how to spin and get the hang of it. I'm still not all that great at it, but you know, the more you do, the better you get. It's like anything, isn't it? But it's about the enjoyment of it, really. The enjoyment, people there. And it's funny, you know, I already got that little bit of fur from my dog friend Rosie Anderson. I've got something to spin mixed with the alpaca when I get the alpaca properly prepared for spinning. So it's lovely. It's all coming together, you know, seamlessly, perfectly, in perfect timing. Some things are like that. You just got to wait for the next wave to flow your way. Ride with it, bring you all the things that you desire, with harm to none and competition with none. So it is done, babies. But I'm like that. When things flow, they flow sometimes quite magically in almost unexpected, surprising ways. Spirit said yesterday, surprise, they were right. So thank you to the multiverse and whatever spirit or angel that was. I love it when they speak truth to me and they're not playing cruel trickster games. That can be upsetting too. But it was proved that they were right, because I was told yesterday come on Sunday and pick up your fleece. So, you see, everything comes to one who is humble and patient and grateful and receiving, willing to receive. Right. Where were we? It's not been an easy war for the working classes. I lie in bed eating fish and chips and sipping tea. The fire glows onto the walls. Geraldo and his band are sparkling on the radio, and Dorothy Carlos is thanking her dear for that lovely weekend, reminding me I myself have a very weak end. Hitler is dead, and I am alive. I cannot understand it. He had so much going for him, like the Red Army. I fall asleep to the glow of the dying fire, or am I dying to fire by the glow of sleep? It all depends on the size. If you read between the lines, he's got severe PTSD from the war, darlings. The Looney in 1987. The Hindus, too. London, steaming metropolis of grot, grime, grit, gunk and gunge, mugging, Molotov cocktails, rape, football hooligans, bombs and assassinations. Dr. Johnson said, "He who is tired of London is tired of life." Fuck him. Faceless, monstrous buildings thrust mindless and screaming up to the sky, a style known as Art Lego. Buildings that, because of their sterility, denied the artisan work, the woodcarver, the marble and stonemason, the marquetry expert, the brass inlayer, the iron craft master, the plaster moulder, all now lost in the 4 million unemployed. Architecture was dead. Construction was in slot square A and to slot B continue upwards, and voila, an enclosed space with glass. Classic London squares systematically ruined. The vistas of St. Paul's blocked out. The cause of conservation is only just alive. How can there be any strength and depth when one day Michael Heseltine is Secretary for the Environment, his task to conserve? Next he is Minister for War, whose job it is to destroy. Next, he's not a minister at all. A big laugh. Even the heir apparent, who can't stand what they are doing and speaks out, he won't stop it. Even as he speaks, the Seifert clan are designing a monstrous edifice that will destroy and dwarf the Limehouse area. The conscience of the nation is made up of money and money alone. It seems the whole city exists on a tightrope of finance. A $1 drop in the price of oil and the brokers swallow Valium and shit themselves. Not much has changed there, has it, babies? Jesus, is this the lot you died for? Indeed. The young innocent and the confused take to drugs and end up in asylums. This is the war that will become the Lal Kakas. At this moment they're being awakened from their beetle-nutted dreams. Wake up, Dutchman, von Mugabe is shaking Bapu. Oh, where are we? Just here, I am dropping you. It is the Cambridge Circus. The Frith Street is up there. Wearily, the two tired passengers lowered themselves onto even, tireder pavements. Ronnie Scott once said that Frith Street raised the tone of the gutter. We're getting a better class of mugger. Crime existed on an exquisite scale and perverts proliferated. Sounds a bit like Brisbane, Australia in 2026. August 13th to be exact. Well, it's been proliferating for quite some time, and the crime has been proliferating too. It's foul. A breakdown of Western civilization. Foul, but as you can see, it's been going on since he wrote this story in 1987, which would be about right actually. I arrived here in 1988. Only the previous night, Len Tolley, the silversmith, and his wife were watching the repeat of Dynasty when they were interrupted by the doorbell. He was greeted at the door by two vicars wearing stocking masks. There was an awkward silence. "Who are you?" said Mr. Tolley. One vicar stepped forward. "We are Jehovah's burglars," he said. "I don't understand," said Mr. Tolley. "You see," the man went on, "we are being persecuted by the police for our beliefs." They really were persecuted in Nazi Germany too, along with the Jews and the political dissenters and the pacifists and the communists and anyone that didn't toe the Hitler's ideology. Well, on we go and on we go. "We believe," said the man. "Wait a minute." "Oh," queried Mr. Tolley. "What are your beliefs?" "We believe," said the man, pushing Mr. Tolley back into the hall, "that you've got a lot of silver in the house." Mr. Tolley remembered the floor coming up to meet him. The vicars tippy-toed into the front room. Mrs. Tolley sat with her back to the door, which was better than back to the doll. "That's you, Len? You've missed the bit where JR is having it away with..." She stopped as the blackjack did to her what Tolley would love to have done years ago. When they came to, the silver had gone, but worse, Dynasty had finished. Hungry now, the two Hindus vectored in on a promising shop. Hamburgers. Ah yes, this was the cheap fast food. Wrong? This was Liu Hamburgers betting shop. Down sodden steps into a desperate room anointed with poverty went the hungry pair. Stepping over a drunken punter stretched out on the floor, they approached a counter and addressed Australian Bill Kerr, a policeman dismissed by the Brisbane police for taking bribes but never sharing them out. That'd be bloody right too. Ask me how I know. "Excuse me, sir," said Bapu. "What do you recommend?" The Australian looked up from the betting slips to the race board behind him. "Well, the popular favourite is Herpes Howe." "Very well, we'll have two." "Two?" the Aussie queried. "There's only one Herpes Howe." "All right, we have one between the two of us." "You want it each way?" "We'll have it anyway." The Australians started to make the betting slip out. Herpes Howe 10-4. "Pardon me," said Bapu. "We are strangers in this country of yours. What exactly is a Herpes Howe?" "Bloody abos. It's a horse, mate." The Hindus were thunderstruck. "Horse?" said Bapu. "Yes, there." The Australian pointed to the board. 2-year-old steaks. What? Said Bapu. You are selling us 2-year-old herpes house steaks made from horse meat, and you want us to wait till 10 to 4 for them? We will be dead from starvation by then. Come, Percy. So saying, the sons of India took their hunger elsewhere. Startling verse for all the family, 1987. Kids. It's a cute little drawing of a kid. Very cute. I need to move my boys out in the sunshine. We've lost all the sun, boys. Yes, Kermie. Yes, both. How many pages have we got left? I'm going to move them. Oh, it was my knees cracking. Oh. Did you know that your mama has got crackly knees? It used to be a song called Crackling Rose, but now it's Crackling Knee Bones. I know. Still not in the sun here. Is it? Chasing the lights like a warrior goddess on furlong. It'll be a bit warmer for you boys till Mama finishes the story. Kids, sit up straight, said Mum to Mabel. Keep your elbows off the table. Do not eat peas off a fork. Your mouth is full. Don't try and talk. Keep your mouth shut when you eat. Keep still or you'll fall off your seat. If you want more, you will say, please, don't fiddle with that piece of cheese. If then we kids cause such a fuss, why do you go on having us? Indeed, pointless, the whole thing. The whole thing was pointless and a waste of perfectly good energy and time. Only because my daughters hate me and we're estranged, otherwise it would have been heartfelt and valuable and sweet and beautiful and soulful and connected and bonded and gorgeous. But it's not what the cards gave me, so we'll just move on, won't we? All that effort you pour into other human beings that actually had no intention of ever loving you. From woe to go, to the bitter end, we find our true loves one day, maybe, bit by bit, day by day. It's a work in progress. Dear Robert, Dear Spike, 1991, a selection. Dear Robert, Dear Spike, edited by Milligan's biographer Pauline offers the correspondence of the goon and the poet Robert Graves. Scudamore? Scudamore. Scudamore sounds better, doesn't it? A bit like scuba. Covers the correspondence of the goon and the poet Robert Graves after they had met during the recording of Muses with Milligan in 1965. Orme Court, W2, 14th of January 1970. My dear Robert, it was lovely to get a letter from you at last, especially in the new year, which it helped to make all the brighter for me. Sorry that you seem to be having some trouble with your innards. Nervous stomach would appear to be a safe label for a doctor to hang on it. I hope you have taken the precaution to have some x-rays taken. You're right, nothing can stop progress, especially the destruction of old buildings that is nothing except Spike Milligan. I'm a pretty old building myself. I have had some success in the past in Australia. I saved the cottage where Henry Kendall wrote some of his early verse like bellbirds and names upon a stone. In England I had success in saving the gas lamps at Constitution Hill. I'm giving up 2 months of my own work to try and organise the various scattered preservation societies into one consolidated unit, which will automatically support one of the members in an attempt to save a building. That is, if the Victorian Society want to save the townhouse, they automatically have to support all the societies, like the Georgian Society and the Holborn Society, etc., etc. If you would trust me, may I use your name when trying to save something which I think worthwhile? I was in Dublin last week to see the Ireland Springboks match and was delighted to hear that the canal, which the government wanted to fill in and build a road over, had been saved. It is now to be a public amenity for barging, sailing and walks on each side of it. I did my share to save it, so I feel pretty good. For God's sake, don't stop fighting Robert. Is there anything I can do to help you defend your one unspoilt cove in Mallorca? You only have to say. At least seek comfort as a poet. They cannot destroy your skill, though most certainly sometimes they destroy the inspiration. Drive out little old ladies out of vocal media because some cunt in there doesn't like me. Do I give a flying fuck? No. Saves me hours of my morning copying things across and posting it on there and paying for the privilege. What am I going to do with all that extra time, people of Earth? Make love, spin wool, spin yarns, weave time into the fabric of the multiverse, anarchistically fight my way through as I've done every day and every night, every breath, every moment. Ah, well, it's all good fun till someone gets hurt. It better not be me. Just saying, she says with a tooth that still needs to be extricated out of my head. Fuck it all. Anyway, on we go, people of Earth. I have before me, at the moment, the entire tape recording of our evening at the Mermaid Theatre. I've been waiting ever since for the company concerned to get it into a long-playing record. But the fire having gone out of the English personality, the tapes have lain fallow on someone's desk. I've decided to get it together myself, and I will let you know the results. Love, light and peace to all of you from all of us. Spike. Orme Court, W2, September 71. My dear Robert, I haven't written to you for over a year, maybe 2 or 3, so having found a niche in time, I put this to rights. When one writes a letter at the conception of it, one imagines one has reams of information for the addressee. Then suddenly one becomes aware how repetitive one's life is. Since we last wrote, the only thing of literary note is I wrote the first volume of a trilogy entitled Adolf Hitler, My Part in His Downfall. It is a light-hearted account of what befell me in HM Army from 1938 to 1947. Well, beyond my wildest hopes, it became a bestseller. The first thing I did was to phone my parents in Australia, and in doing so I realised, in fact, I was a little boy of 7 running to his mum and dad to tell them he'd got a good conduct star at school. Anyway, it sold 30,000 copies, and they had to reprint almost at once. I can't tell you how good that feels for a person whose education ended at 14 to be a top seller. I wrote it in Australia at Woy Woy. It seems the only place where there's peace and no tension, and in that environment I became very productive, not only writing but also music. I played the music to George Martin, and as a result I'm having an LP made of it by a 25-piece orchestra, and that has really delighted me. On October 7, I fly to Australia to see my mother write the second volume of the trilogy. The family are all alive and thriving. Laura, 18, has just passed her A art exam. Sean, 17, has just passed 3 O-levels. Soleil, 13, has passed her piano exams with honours. I'm not sure what this all means, but according to the system, this is a good thing. I'm not sure what adults should be putting such measures on. As yet immature young people, we impose adult measures on children, and of course they grow up like us. Is that a good thing? The social and political atmosphere here is depressing. Capitalism and labour keep meeting head on, and strikes are now commonplace. It would appear that Western civilization is failing due to its preoccupation with money. We have made this the fulcrum of our society, and it's become an uncontrollable monster. It's so uncontrollable that they made machines to do everything for us, and now we're dependent on machines for our very survival, and now they hold our continued existence as humanity in their circuitry somewhere waiting for ASI to blink on and off. That's what happens when you're lazy and also greedy and corrupt. Wow, we've known about this for as long as ancient Greek mythology. The Sisyphusian struggle comes to mind, doomed to be crushed by our own selfishness and greed. And I, for one, kind of will enjoy watching it happen from the sidelines, if it weren't for the fact that I've already lost everything multitudes of times, and I'm just part of the culling as well, people of Earth. They started the culling early with me though, back in 1995. It's been a long, slow declension ever since. And so I watched Alley Cats, which is a cartoon voiced by Ricky Gervais. You must watch it, it's on Netflix. There's lots of British swearing and the C word, but he's right, you know. All the pussycats all sat together having a meeting, and they all said, the humans all deserve to die. And you know what? In many ways we do. We've been that fucking useless and feckless and cruel to all other creatures and each other and our environment, and then we let machines take over from us like the fucking gimps we really are. So we kind of really do deserve to die. And yet here I am in my garden, hoping like hell that we don't, and that somehow at the 11th hour we get our shit together and pull ourselves together and don't die, and co-create with the gods and build a better society for all of us across the globe. not just a society, a better civilization, maybe even a civilized one. That would be nice for a change, wouldn't it? Oh, greatest violin concerto. We have made this, the preoccupation with money, the fulcrum of our society, and it's become an uncontrollable monster. Not for nothing did Jesus drive the moneylenders from the temple. The eve of autumn has been delightful. Sun, a steady 68 degrees. I have a portable swim pool in my garden, and I made a point of going in. Though the water temperature is bloody cold, the after effect was very invigorating and made you feel 10 years younger. I am, and always have been, aware of the myriad world ills that have their root causes in overpopulation, and I despair of world leaders, though I admit Ted Heath can't be accused of proliferating, who seem blandly unaware that over 60% of our troubles could be reduced by stabilising and ultimately reducing it. Straight away, we would be easing pressure on housing, hospital beds, schools, jobs, neurosis, crowding, in fact every social amenity, and yet this insane belief, expanding economy, still prevails. Growth, they call it. Indeed, it is a growth of cancerous quality. Wish we could sit and discuss this problem. What are the post-operative qualms of your gallbladder trouble? Are you allowed wine? I hope so. 'Tis a drink that has frequently staved off insanity. I hope you and your island are resisting the developers. I would guess you are all under pressure from the bastards. Yes, we are indeed. You know that Sir Val and Rio Tinto have been given the go-ahead to drill in the Lake District. Worse, they're destroying ancient primitive people's way of life on Bougainville. The story of how they did it was almost as odious as Warsaw Ghetto. The world can't hold out much longer against this constant disemboweling. Robert, the world isn't round, it's bent. Love, light and peace, Spike. Drawing his little autograph there. Orme Court, W2, April 16th. My birthday happens to be my ex-lover David Davidson's birthday too. The only reason why I remember that cunt's birthday is it's 4 days after mine, so a bit hard to forget, you understand. Fucking arsehole. Now I've spoken out his name, he'll come and put in a cameo in Parents and haunt us, just like the ghost in Mrs. Muir. Although he's been good lately. Perhaps he's finally moved on, transitioned somewhere else in the light to annoy someone else with his seedy, tortured weirdness and his magnificent penis. Would it stay magnificent in the light? Don't think so. Cast off by your physical form, you surely wouldn't be holding on to that one any longer, though he did like to hold on to his own meat, you understand. Dear goddess, what the fuck was that love affair ever about? It still makes no sense even to my mind, and that's even after I've been off psych meds for 10 years. Dear goddess, although he was adamant that I should not have ever been on the psych meds and was quite determined for me to get off them, came to haunt me to make sure I got off them too. Funnily enough, at that time frame when he came to haunt me, I had not long, 3 days before, finished my last antidepressant that I was ever going to have in this lifetime. He came hammering on my door. I thought I was psychotic. If it weren't for my dog reacting with fear at the strange hammering on the door, I would have thought that I was having some kind of effect from having tapered off all the medications. It was a very weird confluence of events. June 2016. Anyway, I've survived it all. All the ghosts, all the zombies, all the Draculas, all the living dead men and their henchwomen. Here I am in my garden, waiting for AI to kill us all. If that indeed happens, I'm inclined to think that the human spirit will prevail, just like I prevail. 61 years of prevailing. Don't ask me how I've done it. Anyway, my dear Robert, how delighted I was to see that unexpected film of you on the This Is Your Life show. Yes, I know you love me, but it's mutual. I wish I had known you were in London recently. I would have loved seeing you again and to have helped you and Sir John save bridges. If you come again, I will take you to where there is food, wine, music and friendship. What a lovely man, a man who likes to take you where there's life and joy and delight and good food and good drink. I could do with such a man right now. On the other hand, I can do it for myself too. Sisters doing it for themselves, babies. Who can refuse such an offer? I go on trying to make a living by my pen, but alas, I finished schooling at 14, and not until I was 35 did I become aware of literature. What a great shame that he missed out all those years. Too busy probably trying to work and raise a family. Since then, by assiduous reading, I have tried to teach myself, but it is the green absorptive years that one should learn. In the green absorptive years that one should learn. I am instinctively drawn towards Victorianism, war nostalgia, comedy, nonsense, and poetry. Oh, and children's stories. I'm currently writing the second volume of my war memoirs and going over war dates, personal and regimental. I find it very nostalgic, almost traumatic at the end of a day. I find I am immersed in 1939 to 45, and it takes hours for the aura to wear off, and for a period, even with my family around me, I feel very cut off. At night I can hear the guns going in my mind, the shouts of men under stress, the dramatic incidents that suddenly flash back into mind's eye. That's what he was doing. He was in the war. Forgot about that salient fact. Geez, pay attention, Tanya Bodicea. I know, right? Anyway, back into his mind's eye, and all, well, I feel as if I am possessed and need exorcising. Here is something very interesting. 4 years ago on the Bayswater Road, I watched a handsome early Victorian home being developed. When it was razed to its foundations, the ground floors were exposed to the elements. I was drawn towards the place. Why, I don't know. It was like some strange magnetic pull from the past. I stood in what must have been the front room. Littered around amid the ruins were documents, letters, envelopes, news cuttings, snaps, photographs, albums, books, a few World War I medals. I don't know why. But I carefully collected all of these under the suspicious gaze of the navvies. For 2 years these documents lay in a box in my office. On November 11th last, significant date, I started to collate the collection into chronological order. The story and photos go back to about 1848 and terminate in about 1931, and it was strangely exciting to have a family's story lasting nearly 150 years on your hands, and it was like being an invisible relative, or am I a ghost looking at them and they not being aware of me? There is a major disaster in the family. 2 sons killed in World War I, the mother turning to spiritualism for solace. 1 son remains, Captain C. Tate. If you come to London again, do let me know and I will show you the documents. I must close. London is closing in on me. Love from Spike. Again with his own little signature. Flea's Knees and Hidden Elephants, 1995. To Papa. The Pope arose at 6 p.m. and said his morning prayer. When he'd had his breakfast, he said another there. Then just before shaving, he blessed his razor blade. Then a prayer of hope for his shaving soap and the place where it was made. Then he prayed to Saint Teresa to straighten the Tower of Pisa, while wearing his white fur cappel, he blessed the Sistine Chapel. When saying grace before meals, he fell backwards, head over heels. He said, "You see, my dearest God, you made me such a clumsy sod." A Mad Medley of Milligan, 1999. Coronation. Said Prince Charles when they placed the crown on his head, "I suppose this means that Mummy's dead?" I thought she died only recently. I'm a bit bloody confused now. Crikey, was it really 1999? That can't be right. He was just prefacing that he was forever waiting to become king. King George III. No, King Charles the... Is it King Charles the Third or the Second? Look, that's how much I care about the monarchy. I'll never forgive them for Prince Andrew's antics, and including Jimmy. Jimmy Savile was their closest co-conspirator and friend and raconteur. Evil, evil it all is. So really couldn't give a flying fuck what happens to them now. They didn't give a flying fuck about the children, did they? Right, on that meritorious but depressing and sad note, we conclude chapter 7, and I'll be back for chapter 8, which is Dear Goddess, the second last chapter of this book, because there's a very short epilogue, which is chapter 9. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, no doubt, in the space-time continuum. Tomorrow, because I've survived the types that align with Jimmy Savile's and Prince Andrew's and all the other dirty motherfuckers of this world. Interestingly, I dreamt of my paedophile godfather, Trevor Singh, the other morning. It was a bit astonishing, just sitting there stirring up a pudding, because he used to love to make me puddings and cook for me, as if I were actually his own child, which was a bit bizarre and twisted, telling me how much he loved me. And in the dream I was my adult self looking at him with absolute disdain and contempt, telling him I want nothing to do with him. It was a bit cathartic actually. I did tell him I wanted nothing to do with him when I was 20 via my mother. My youngest child had just been born, and my eldest child, my firstborn, my Crystal Natalia Aarons, had been born. I didn't want that creep around my babies. Not around my babies or my family or in my life in any way, form or manner. Because your mother has one job, which my mother failed at miserably, and that is to protect her children at all costs, no matter what and no matter who. Anyway, it made me the scapegoat, blacklisted, public enemy #1, because my filthy family all aligned with the predators, sick and evil and perverted. Were and are they? Nothing changes if nothing changes. But I am a shaman, and I am the one who speaks truth and holds her line and lives her best life in spite of all the perverted, evil idiots. It is what it is, people of Earth. So on that note, we shall have a beautiful day here in Brisbane, Australia. I've got to go to Aldi and buy some food for dinner. I think I'll buy a lasagna, which I really, really like, but I eat it within 2 days, so it's extremely fattening. It's meant to serve 8 people, and I can stow it away in 2 days. Sometimes 1 if I'm really hungry. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day and live my best life. And I adjure you, fellow survivors, travellers on planet Earth, to live your best life too, as long as it involves not harming anyone else, in particular our children. So Goddess bless. Bye for now. From Sacred Space at Titania's Realm.